Hi, my name is Daniel O'Neill, and this is my persuasive speech for public speaking 2608. So, as you know, 2020 is going to be a year to remember. It's going to be a year that they talk about in history textbooks and in history classrooms, and it's all going to be about this global pandemic, COVID-19. So, as we know, we've never seen a pandemic as this scale before, and pretty much life has felt at a standstill with these lockdowns. When things kicked off here, I felt things that were pretty uncertain. I'm sure you guys did too, but we didn't know if we were gonna have school, sporting events got canceled, jobs got canceled, and businesses closed, masks became essential to wear to places. I felt like I was glued to my phone, staring at these updates about the virus, seeing these high rates of infected, seeing that this unseen virus was coming over from Asia. So it was pretty uncertain. So in this speech, what I'm going to talk to you guys about is pretty much what's happened with the coronavirus so far, where we stand currently, and what action is needed to pursue from here. So, when the coronavirus started, we saw lockdowns. Governments were locking down, businesses were closing, most stuff was going on to online transferment, Zoom classes, everything like that, right? It wasn't all negative though. During those months, we saw that there was reductions in pollution, reductions in consumption because there was less traffic, less people were going to work. It sort of brought the public together in the eyes of that this was like a common enemy. Even though there was an election going on. There was a journal posted by J.T. Raoul, who wrote The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of COVID-19. It's an academic journal. And Italy was actually the first country that had a nationwide lockdown. And they did surveys there on wildlife populations, and they saw that wildlife populations actually came back because there was less human interaction in those areas. And it came back to levels that were actually above pre-COVID-19 levels, and it was levels that they actually had never even seen before. So where do we stand now? According to Lancet.com, there's an article called The COVID-19 Pandemic, We Need to Act Now, which said that 35 million people have been infected globally so far. 1 million people have died, and this is a survey as of October 12, 2020, which was posted by the WHO. Currently, when I'm recording this, it's November 25th, and right now, there's a second spike going on in Europe and in Asian countries. And we know of at the moment, there are 3 treatments right now for people who are infected with COVID-19. There's a vaccine that's looking to come out December 11th. We know how the virus spreads. We know the symptoms of the virus. We know the rate of infection. We know the likelihood that you will get infected if you've been in contact with somebody who's had it. And recent studies have actually shown that you can recontract the virus, which previously was unknown before. They thought that once you had it, you were sort of immune. So that's sort of new news. But the virus recontraction rate is unknown at the moment. So what do we do? What do we do to get things to go back to normal? We all want to go out to the bar and hang out with our friends again. We want to go watch movies. We want to go to the movie theater. We want to go to sporting events and watch our favorite teams in person. According to the Wall Street Journal, actually, 400 million jobs have been lost worldwide, or the equivalent of that of, and there are actually 13 million U.S. jobs that have been lost. Right now, we're currently in the deepest peacetime recession since the Great Depression, which is terrible news. So we need to do something to fix this. What can we do? So lockdowns are way too costly. When we did lockdowns, we saw that there was a bunch of businesses that were closed permanently. There was a lot of jobs. People were unemployed. There was so much uncertainty. So lockdowns are too ineffective, pretty much impossible. So there's actually an article posted by the American Medical Association saying that 17 states have issued a stay-at-home ordinance when the lockdowns occurred. That's how bad that the businesses were closing everywhere, right? So what can we do? Isolation, right? If you've been infected or you've come into contact with somebody who's been infected, the CDC recommends that you stay at home for 2 weeks by yourself, right? Self-isolate yourself. Mitigate the spread. Keep disinfecting, keep hand sanitizer on you, social distance. Make sure you wear your mask. There's actually a new designed program. They're doing contact tracing for people who've been infected, right? Contact tracing is when somebody's been infected, they go back and they've seen when you could have come into contact with the person who's been infected to notify you to go out and get tested to see if you've gotten COVID-19, which really would help stop the spread of infections, which is they're doing currently on college campuses. They're doing currently in a bunch of other businesses and a bunch of other facilities. What else can we do? Businesses all around globally have pretty much redesigned their interface for customers. They've redesigned how they're doing business. They're redesigning how they're teaching, how they're doing college. So pretty much in conclusion, 2020 has been the craziest year by far. People are going to be talking about this for years to come. We all pretty much need to feel this sense of obligation as Americans because we lead by example to try and help with this global crisis. I've summarized the effects this pandemic's had, but as you guys have probably experienced this yourself, you know how it's been. And, what you need to do to play your part is to wear your mask, socially distance, and just be smart. Now that you have a better understanding of this unseen enemy, I'm hoping that I'll see some holiday photos with masks on. All right. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.